Hey everyone, and welcome to another Warframe video. In my video on Monday I talked about finally jumping on that Umbral build train. So here we are with the first one out of 5 or 6 that I've got right now, and that is going to be my Umbral Nekros build. Nekros is a frame that I feel players should go towards as soon as they can when they start the game. Extra loot and mods can seriously help progress through the game quite a bit faster and quite a bit easier. Especially, you know, you got endo and all sorts of things in there going on. However, for those higher mastery players where they might have everything already, it can still have a really good use, helping out those new players with all those mods and stuff, while being a fixed point in the squad. Super tanky, seriously difficult to kill, even at high level. I'm not going to go into his abilities in too much detail, because this build is aimed at the more veteran player, but just a quick little reminder in case it's been a while since you've used him. His one hits an enemy, does a bit of damage, ragdolls them to Kingdom Come, good little crowd control ability to knock those high priority targets off their feet. Second ability, Terrify, makes them run away in fear and reduces their armor. Third ability is Desecrate, re-rolling enemy loot tables, spawning more loot, health, energy orbs and ammo. Fourth ability, spawn shadows of the enemies you've killed, which can take aggro away from your frame. So how do we go about modding the Umbral Nekros? Well, we've got the two Umbral mods in here. We've got Umbral Vitality and Umbral Intensify. Don't use Umbral Fiber because 65 armor is not worth modding for. But with just these two, you actually get like more than you would do on the base mods. So Vitality and Intensify, these are better still. So I go with just these two. Then we're going to be modding for Shields of Shadows. So we've got Umbral Intensify, we've got August Secrets, Power Drift, and we've also got Growing Power. Now, Growing Power needs to be active before you hit your 4, otherwise you're not going to get the full 90% damage resistance from Shield of Shadows. So that is very, very important. But basically, all of these are for power strength. We've got Prime Continuity, which is going to mean that our the drain on the health of our 4 is going to be a lot less. So this helps out a lot. We've got Stretch, which is going to help with the range of our Shield of Shadows. So basically, you've got Shield of Shadows, every single one, like you're linked to every single one of the enemies, and Stretch really helps with that. And then it also helps with your Desecrate, which we've got Despoil in there, which means that Despoil is going to make it so that we're not going to use energy for desecrating, we're going to use our health instead. And basically, we're going to combine that with Equilibrium. So if we, the health pickups that you get from Desecrate are going to give us energy, and the energy orbs that we get from Desecrate are going to give us health. So you've got like this permanent sort of cycle going on. And then in terms of our augments, not augments, our arcanes is what I'm trying to say. I've got Arcane Guardian in here, which means that when we take a hit with Shield of Shadows, we're taking 90% less damage, which means we can afford to take a hit, and that's going to proc Arcane Guardian. And then, because in the footage you can see I was doing an Eximus stronghold infested, and infested spawn almost nothing but energy leeches. I've got Arcane Energize in there because it just helped keep my energy up that little bit more. But this is way overkill, especially since you can see that we don't have a Prime Flow in here. So most of the time, I will actually switch out that for something like Avenger for more crit chance on whatever I'm using. This is really, really good. Avenger is fantastic for that, in fact. You could also use Arcane Pulse if you want to, which is going to give you healing to nearby allies. It's basically like an Energize, but with heal. So you're healing your allies in a certain radius around you every time you pick up heals. You could go with Arcane Fury, so you've got more melee damage on critical hits. There's a bunch of things you could really do. Most of the time I'm going to run Avenger, or like I say, Energize if I'm feeling kind of lazy and I don't want to do any energy management whatsoever. Like I say, Energize is really overkill, especially if you've got Zenurit going on as well. Super, super overkill, but it still works nonetheless. And this is a really strong all-round build. Works for Shield of Shadows, you've got Despoil going, so you're doubling loot, you're getting all the airdrops, plus 90% damage resistance, plus, like, this is what, 600 armor? For 20 seconds every time you get hit, and you're taking 90% less damage anyway. This is a ridiculously tanky build. It's very, very good, and it's one that I'm enjoying a lot, and basically this is how I decided to go about modding it. So why did I decide to go with an Umbral Nekros build? Well, honestly, it was my clanmate Frostino that put me onto the idea. When I previously did my Necross suit up, my super tanky build relied so much on like health conversion, arcane pulse, arcane energize, plus as much power strength as humanly possible to make it super tanky. However, with these Umbral mods and a bit of creative formering, you can make a frame that has a sizable amount more HP, 110 more than standard vitality, plus enough power strength to be able to get that 90% damage reduction from the Shield of Shadows augment. This build is so much easier to play than my previous super tank, it's unreal, to the extent where I've even dropped Prime Flow now because the energy cost is so much easier to keep up with than the build that had no efficiency and a max point range. Plus the fact that you're going to have a constant flow of health and energy coming in with the Desecrate taking your health, and the health orbs then giving you some energy back through equilibrium. There are very few occasions where you're going to struggle to keep your 4 going. Even those can be fixed with maybe, you know, a quick use of Zenuric or an energy pad, or even if you're feeling kind of over the top, you can stick Energize in there. There is one thing to note though, that because a lot of your survivability comes from your damage reduction from your Shield of Shadows, you're going to need to kill enemies first so you can cast it. So going into a high level survival, like for example a Sortie 3 survival, you're going to be really rather squishy until you get those first shadows up. I was doing a Sortie 3 Assassinate the other day and died a couple of times before getting to the boss because it was such high level, plus the enemies were doing extra toxin damage, so you know, straight to health. But once I had my shadows up, I could tank everything with ease. Also remember though that you're going to need to have your growing power active before you can get that maximum 90% damage reduction on your Shield of Shadows, so make sure that you're going to proc a status proc just to get that going before casting. Recasting doesn't change that unless you let your shadows die completely, so just heal up your shadows by recasting and you will always have that 90%. In terms of what weapons to pair him with, honestly anything status based and mostly high slash. High slash is brilliant for him. Cutting up corpses into tiny little pieces is super nice, and it helps a lot with the Desecrate because each corpse piece basically acts as another corpse to desecrate, so it really makes it a lot more easy and you get a lot more stuff out of it. I personally am running a Ribbon Comb with 100% status. Honestly, anything with high slash and good status is going to work well. In the footage you see my Heavy Blade Zor, which also does a super good job too. So just go with whatever the best weapon is, whatever your best weapon is for that. It's not necessary, but it is going to get the best out of it. But to be honest, I wasn't sure how good Umbral Nekros was going to be. I was convinced it wasn't going to be any better than the max strength one I already had. But honestly, it's stronger than the other build and way easier and less stressful to actually play. I'm pretty happy with it, and I think it's worth a look if you're looking for a fairly nice balanced build. It doesn't like destroy any of his abilities. Terrify has the extra range from Stretch. The first ability is still really good CC. You've got decent range for your Desecrate, and obviously you've got the Augment, and then you've got the Shield of Shadows and the 90% damage reduction. So it is a really very, very balanced build. However, I look forward to seeing your feedback in the comments below. But for now, many, many thanks for watching, and I shall catch you in the next video.